Quick disclaimer. I am legally blind in one eye and basically completely blind in the other eye. So if the audio editing is bad, that's because it's hard for me to see how to do it. And I also think it's funny when people do multiple takes and leave each one in a video, which is why I'm doing that. Plus, I'm recording the audio on my phone just because it's easier for me to see how to do it that way. Please be patient with me. Hopefully this channel will get better. I don't want you guys to decide to subscribe just because you feel bad about my health problems. I only want you to subscribe if you like my content. So, with that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you.
Who is Ash Ketchum's father? Is it Professor Oak, Giovanni, Brock Harrison, who is only 15? Or is it the Denver Broncos? Stay tuned to find out. First episode is called Pokemon, I Choose You. And we begin with what most people probably don't know is a cutscene from the games. I'm sure a lot of people skip it. And it expertly transitions into a battle that Ash is watching on TV. A few minutes into the tournament, Ash gets bored and picks up his favorite book, Life in the Cretaceous. Then his mom bursts in and says, "Ash, I know that book is awesome. Reading about an immortal raptor and his adventures throughout history is very fun and exhilarating. But you need to go to bed right now." And Ash says, "But Mom, I'm a 10-year-old, which means I'm legally an adult. It's true, look it up. I don't have to do what you say." Fine. But since you're a moron who can't read, Dad never taught me. But he'll come back someday. You'll see. Yeah, sure, whatever. Anyway, just watch this about Pokemon so you don't get killed. So, she turns it onto an educational show, and 5 seconds later, Ash gets bored and falls asleep. He then has a dream where he has a Bulbasaur. Now, I know everyone who hates this Pokemon is gonna say, "Ha, even Pokemon thinks it's lame because they said that it's great for beginners." Which, first of all, shouldn't all the starters be great for beginners? But also, I'm pretty sure that this is just a fact because it's a grass Pokemon. Just feed it, give it water and sunlight, and you're good to go. With a water Pokemon, you have to find enough water that it can swim in, which would be hard to do in the anime. And with Charmander, it literally has a flame on its tail that can just set anything on fire. And canonically, if it or any of its evolved forms gets its tail wet and the flame goes out, it'll just be dead. So fighting a water type is just insta-death, I guess. Strangely, he literally says nothing about Squirtle other than, "Squirtle, choose it or lose it." Which, what does that mean? And that could be said about anything ever. So the next day he wakes up. So the next day he gets angry at his alarm clock and smashes it while he's asleep. And then just decides to run to Oak's lab while in his underwear. And we meet Gary Oak. Apparently this is his first time meeting Ash too. They literally introduce themselves to each other, which means that Gary has never met Ash before, but he was like, "Hey, weirdo in the pajamas, you're my enemy now." Why? Why would someone randomly do that? Unless Gary knows the truth about Ash's dad. So there's a very popular theory that says that Professor Oak is secretly Ash's dad, and he and Ash's mom, Delia, are a couple, but only in secret for some reason. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Mostly because Delia was 16 when she got pregnant with Ash. That's canon, look it up. So, Oak would have to have done something very bad because he's obviously much older than she is. So, yeah, let's just pretend that theory doesn't exist. Instead, I would like to bring to your attention the fact that we never hear or see Gary's mom or dad, which is weird, isn't it? I mean, not only are they the parents of Ash's first rival, but they are also the son and daughter-in-law of Professor Oak, who's a very important recurring character. I'm going to call him Mr. Oak. And Mr. Oak probably moved to another town when he grew up. And he got married, but he wanted to continue being a Pokemon trainer. So he kept going around the world traveling while his wife stayed home. And while visiting his dad one day, he ends up meeting Delia and hooking up with her like he's done with a bunch of other women. Eventually, Mr. Oak and his wife, both at the same time, find out that Delia's pregnant. They force her to take a deal where they make up an alternate identity for him so that no one else will know that he's Ash's dad, because he doesn't want his reputation ruined. And in exchange, he will visit them sometimes and give them money for the rest of their lives. She had to take the deal because she was a poor teenager. But then Oak decided to disown his son and daughter-in-law, which is why he never talks about them. And Gary eventually found out the truth, that he has a brother and what his name is. But he decides that he needs to prove himself worthy of having a dad, which means he has to be better than his brother at being a Pokemon trainer. It doesn't make sense, but it's kid logic. So yeah, that's who I think Ash's dad is. I think Ash and Gary have the same father. But hey, that's just a theory. A Poke theory. And if you like that theory, you can like and subscribe for more weird opinions and theories. And I hope you do, because that would really help me out a lot. So that would also explain how Ash ended up getting a Pokemon license. No one in the fan base seems to pay attention to this moment, but Ash did have to get a license to legally own Pokemon or something. I don't know, they don't explain it. And a bunch of kids younger than Ash clearly have Pokemon throughout the show, so I have no idea. But it means that Ash had to take some kind of test, and clearly he wouldn't be able to pass it because he's like the stupidest person ever. So, yeah, nepotism for the win, yay. When Ash isn't looking, Gary pays his cheerleaders all of his grandpa's money to follow him around and just cheer for him, just to make himself look better than everyone else. Then they all leave together, and Ash goes in Oak's lab. While there, he opens up each Pokeball. Keep in mind that every Pokemon can only stay in the Pokeball that they were caught with, which means that all of the trainers who get Pokemon from Oak have to take the Pokeballs with them. So, Oak had to have taken 3 empty Pokeballs, put them out on a table in the middle of the room so that Ash could open them one by one just to get more and more disappointed. And then Ash begs Oak for a Pikachu, which he probably didn't have to do considering there were 4 trainers in Pallet Town that got that license, which means Ash would have been getting a Pokemon anyway. And because Pikachu hates Ash and Pokeballs, Ash has to drag Pikachu around on a makeshift leash, which he does so until a Rattata robs them at gunpoint for all of Ash's food. Then, angry that he got robbed, tries to take his anger out on a Pidgeotto by smothering it to death with his pajamas. Luckily, the Pidgeotto escapes. However, Ash needs to quench his bloodlust somehow, so he throws a rock at a Sphero. Then the Sphero attacks Pikachu because he's like, "Wow, why does nobody love me? I want a trainer." And when Pikachu defends itself, it's like, "Wow, that Pikachu hurt me, wow." And all of his family come out of the tree, billions of them, and just start chasing Ash and Pikachu. This is probably why nobody likes the Sphero. Then Ash decides, this is a perfect time to take a swim, and I'm taking my electric Pokemon with me. Whee! Then he jumps down a waterfall, and he's caught by Misty. Ash is immediately like, "Oh, cool, a bike. This is mine now. Bye!" He takes off and is being chased by the Sphero. Pikachu is badly injured, thanks to Ash. But Ash is like, "I don't care because I'm riding my bicycle. Bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle." But then he remembers he doesn't know how to ride a bike because his dad wasn't there to teach him. So they fall off. And then Ash is like, "Pikachu, just squeeze yourself into this Pokeball. I'll distract them by letting them eat me or something." And then he gives a speech declaring that he will, quote, "capture and defeat each and every one of you." Pikachu's probably like, this moron has no idea how catching a Pokemon works. I guess I should save him. So Pikachu jumps up and at that moment is zapped by lightning, which gives him a power boost and lets him kill all of the Sphero. Then Ash and Pikachu decide that Then Ash and Pikachu realize that they both love murdering helpless creatures, which makes them develop a bond and the world's greatest friendship. That was the end of episode 1.